I've just been inspired. It's 6 a.m. on, I think it might be the 5th of May. You might notice it's 4 days now after I woke up with half of my face feeling really numb, a very light paralysis called Bell's palsy, and the words probably sound a lot more worse. I know they certainly did to me when I first heard them from the doctor than they actually are. Bell's palsy just means that there's a trapped nerve in my facial muscles that's not allowing the left side of my face to operate as efficiently as my right. So, for example, if I blink one eye, my left eye is responding slower than my right eye. If I do that, it might be easier for you to see. If I smile, you can see that this side is straight and this side is able to go up more. It makes eating a little bit awkward. It's numb inside, so you can easily bite yourself, and it also makes drinking liquids almost impossible. So gargling my mouth after brushing my teeth, for example, the water spraying out all over the place. A bit like when you have that injection from a dentist in your gums if you're having a filling, that kind of numbness. Really strange. I was freaked out initially. I thought I'd woke up with having had a stroke. The process was something like driving down from Manchester, having just popped up there to check out Kavera, the business opportunity, which was awesome, by the way, and then met with Dizzy and Jay and headed back. And on the drive back, long 6-hour drive back, I felt pain in my ear beginning to emerge, like a headache in your earlobe. It wasn't in my ear, it was on the actual lobe. And that just got worse and worse and worse. A couple of days later, I was eating at the dinner table and my tongue went numb, which was really odd, and I thought it's just something I've eaten. Didn't connect the two. And then the next morning I wake up, which is Friday just gone, around the 1st or 2nd of August 2018, and half of my face is numb, and I've woken up in a complete panic, thinking I've had a stroke. Horrible feeling, by the way. And my mum sees my face, and straight away she's like, "What's going on with your face?" Bless her, she's always saying, "What's going on with your face?" Puffy eyes, tired eyes, anything like that. So you kind of get used to those comments. But that's when I realised that there was a serious issue to look at, because she reminded me she had a stroke in the 90s and they were the symptoms. So I never go to the doctors. I say never, probably been half a dozen times my entire adult life. But this was one of those occasions. So I went to the GP, and straight away she was like, "I need to send you into the hospital. It could be a couple of things, but I just want to make sure I can't eliminate everything here." So off I went, and they did all the tests, blood tests and whatever else, everything that they did. I was there for a whole day, and this was the conclusion they came up with, the diagnosis. Luckily, because I called it within 72 hours, it's a temporary situation, not permanent, and so I'll be fine within weeks, maximum 2 or 3 months. It will self-heal. There's no real cause known. Can be triggered oftentimes with viruses and infections, colds, flus, things like that. I haven't had any of that going on. When they looked really in depth, they felt that there was a slight inflammation in my left ear that may have triggered it, but not necessarily. And that they gave me antibiotics and steroids, which hate steroids. I saw what they did to my dad. I've seen what they do for many people around the world, and it's never cool. So I've taken them for a couple of days just out of the fear of, oh my God, my face is frozen kind of thing. But I'm looking for an exit on that one. Just need to do a bit more research, because also appreciate, there is a benefit to certain medicines and situations, and so I'm not an extremist that's like, "Oh no, anti-pharma." No. Best of both worlds. So yeah, I'll find a natural cure, of course, along the way also. So anyway, yeah, that wasn't even the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video was I've just woken up today, Monday, day after Minnie's birthday, so it's the 9th of August, and gosh, I didn't know. I thought it was a 4th or 5th. It was Mahima's birthday yesterday, bless her. Such an amazing girl, that one. It's another story for another day. So yesterday was Mahima's birthday. I've said that a million times, haven't I? Am I resisting talking about this? No. I'm remembering talking about this. I woke up specially to do it. So my thoughts, and I wish I could capture my thoughts more effectively than this, because it's always after the thoughts. My thoughts were streaming away full on, and it went something like this. I was visualizing giving a speech to my family, my extended family, so that may have been triggered by a recent wedding, Umri's wedding last weekend, which was just beautiful, and you know, a wonderful event, ceremony, celebration of a beautiful couple of souls. And anyway, I had call it a half awake dream. Started off, I think, no, it wasn't even started off as a dream, I was just already half awake, and the thoughts were in that direction of me sharing with my family. So maybe I will one day, I don't know, but if not, I'm going to record it anyway. I just thought, you know what, let me capture it. And it went something like this. I was sharing how blessed I am. I guess my brain's just in auto gratitude mode, right? As it often is most mornings, pretty much, except for that day when I woke up with half my face not working. That was not a grateful start to the day, but it certainly was a grateful end to the day and onwards. And the gratitude was how blessed I am to have experienced the things I've experienced, to have lived the life I've lived, to have done the things I've done. And it's been such a rich, colourful, varied life. I've travelled the entire globe. I've been through ice caps. I've been through millions of years old frozen places on the planet. I've been scuba diving, I've been bungee jumping, jumped out of an airplane, I've deep sea diving, scuba diving, even though I don't swim. I've recently started picking up swimming a bit more. I've nearly died 3 times in my life. My first experience was drowning in Dubai. Literally somebody had to save me, pull me out of the pool and push the water out of me, and one of those moments. With Harinder, when I went travelling around the world, same trip, fell through a mossy waterfall, and again almost ended up in a very dark hole in a cave. Stopped myself by putting 2 feet on either side and holding on for dear life until people came down, some kids, local kids that were swimming in the area. We'd pre-warned them that I wasn't a great swimmer and I wanted to get down this waterfall. Again, crazy stuff, right? And if anything went wrong, they would come and just save me. So they immediately took action and saved me. They came down, literally had to, I think 3 or 4 of them came, grabbed my arms, pulled me away from the force of the water, which was taking me down to this dark hole, which would have ended at me in a cave. Who knows what that could have ended up like. Anyway, put me back on the right path and slid all the way down to the rest of the waterfall to the bottom of the pool, which was lovely. It was a natural pool, not a pool like a swimming pool, right? I've done it all, right? I've trekked across mountains and really dangerous narrow paths and cliff edges, and crossed crazy long bridges and zipline wired the most amazing places in the world. My 2 bungee jumps were one in South Africa, one in Australia, the 2 biggest in the world at the time, early 2000s. I've experienced people. I've had friends from all backgrounds in life. I've learnt about their cultures, their way of life, their food, their way of thinking, what they've inherited. I've dated the most amazing women on the planet from all different backgrounds and experienced everything they've had to offer. I've literally attracted the most incredible spirits in the world, that have wanted to come and spend their lives with me. It's been amazing, you know. So I've not had just the benefit of falling in love, but more the benefit of rising in love on many, many, many occasions, with the most stunning, beautiful, gorgeous women from different parts of life, predominantly Asian, Indian. And that's just not because I'm anti anything else. I've experienced all of everything life has to offer, but 99% of the time I've always gravitated naturally to the Indian, not just women, but generally the culture, the people, the richness of our own heritage has been something that forever has, like a magnet, pulled me and drawn me in this direction in my life. I often say I'm grateful for having been born not just Indian, but in particular Gujarati. I absolutely love who we are as a people. And I often say, if I was born again, however many lifetimes I may come back for to experience this thing called life, I'd want to be Gujarati every time, because I've looked right across everywhere else and we're extraordinary. We don't give ourselves enough credit for that. Often, like most people, you take yourself for granted. I'm not saying that we're any better than anyone else, but certainly we have a way about us that allows us to travel the world, conquer the world in whichever space we're in. We've got the most educated people on the planet, working in the highest post, influencing government, politics, economics, massively influencing business on a global scale, every single country we're in. And as a people, we've left our roots in Gujarat and travelled literally to every city all over the globe. You'll find Gujaratis everywhere, right? In every single corner, anywhere you go, there will be Gujaratis. And they'll be hustling. They're business people, they're entrepreneurs, they're making it happen. And they don't just make it happen at the bottom end, they'll make it happen right through to the top. And I love that about our ability to just fit in. We don't get into trouble with people, we don't attract that or cause that, we don't have a chip on our shoulder, we don't carry the burdens of historical pain or whatever else might have been inflicted on our people. We just get out there and we integrate and we make life happen. Such a blessing. And then within that, my family, I really feel super blessed for the heritage. You know, when I look back at the lineage of the people as far back as I know, that I've come through, and what they stood for, the actions they took in their lives, the prices they paid, the sacrifices they made to continually progress, to continually improve and hand over a better life to the next generation than the one that they had, and to constantly pass that on subconsciously as well as consciously. You just learn from all of that just by being immersed in it and looking around. You know, living in a house full of dozens of people when you're a young kid for the first 4 or 5 years of your life, and then, you know, for the next 40 years of your life hanging around with those same people as your best friends on planet Earth. You know, my cousins and my uncles and aunts are just the most amazing, magical people en masse that anyone could ever want to be born into. Every wedding, every funeral, every birthday we get together and celebrate at, there are literally hundreds of us, and we all make the effort and we all show up and we all have the best time ever, every single time. Many are very close, intimate relationships, and some don't even have to be. They still have that intimacy, though. There are family members that I've maybe only ever exchanged a few pleasantries with in my entire life, but still that depth of love and connection, that deep feeling of gratitude for them being in my path and in my journey and in my life is incredible. I can't even begin to express a fleeting glance at those events, and a smile fills my spirit with so much joy. So even though I may not have, you know, sat down and had the deep and meaningful life conversations that I have with so many hundreds of thousands of people around the world, because of what I've chosen to do with my life, which is to get out there and share it with as many people as I can in the world. I don't necessarily do that with my family, not even my immediate family. You know, they don't know who I am ultimately, because familiarity breeds contempt, right? When you're living under the same roof with the same people, you naturally mold yourself into being a fixed way, whereas when you're out there in the world, there is no fixed way. People will accept you for whoever you say you are when you get on stage, and I find power in that. I know some people freak out with that, for me, that's where I'm most alive and most expressed and free, is when I'm on stage in front of a willing and keen audience that wants to know who I am. I flow beautifully, and I'm able to speak and express my way in a way that impacts lives, and that's a gift. You know, I don't take that lightly. I don't take it for granted. I know how much people struggle with these things, and so it's coming back to what I was saying about my family. You know, they don't even know who I am really. They get glimpses now and again if they're overhearing conversations of my Skype calls and phone calls, which are never ending. They've always been that way for decades, so they may get a third-party perspective, but it's not that way in everyday conversations with me and my family at home. I'm often the quiet bystander, just because I choose that, because it's easy to throw your tuppence worth in and create issues, right? I just don't do that. We live in an extended family successfully for a reason, and I often say a huge part of that is accepting the environment that you're choosing to live in, versus causing friction in it. Otherwise, we'd be separated like most people are, right? And so I say there's an art to living together in an extended family and getting the benefits of surrounding yourself with those that you love most and want to be with most. And part of that is keeping your mouth shut, which, by the way, right now, the universe is maybe saying, hey, maybe you need to speak up a little bit more about certain things. Who knows, that might be the case, and I'm inquiring into that. But whether I physically speak about it or not, if I speak about it through my own mind, and that's really the power of this, is you can solve everything in your mind. There's never a need to make others wrong, to judge them, to pass your cheap opinion upon them, to inflict pain on others because you feel hurt. It's really powerful. There's so much power in silence. There's so much power in just observing your situation, observing what's going on, and stepping away from that mentally in any moment, so that you're not adding to the fire, you're not throwing fuel into a situation. You're just able to observe and accept and embrace and be in whatever life puts before you. And this is one of those things as well, right? It's like, you know, once I knew that it wasn't a stroke and it was going to get healed, it made it a lot easier for sure. But I know for a fact that if it was a stroke and it wasn't going to get healed and it was permanent, I know, me being me, I have, because I've lived this life the way I've lived it and trained myself to know myself to such a level that I know even if that did happen, it wouldn't be the best thing that would have happened to me. I wouldn't be the happiest bunny on the planet, but I'd have an attitude of gratitude, and I'd find gold in the situation. I'd find the learning, and I'd make sure that I still did the most of whatever I had to do and be through that to continue to make a difference in the world. I think I went off on a couple of tangents I don't even know now, but I just had to get that out there. I wanted to share probably a little bit more than the initial share was going to be, which was just the thoughts that I woke up with this morning. Gratitude, listening to the birds, loving the fact that we have early bright sunlight even though I'm asleep through. Oftentimes, I normally like to wake up around 8:30, so 6 o'clock start is not the norm for me, just so you know. But yeah, I'm really glad I got to share that with you, and hopefully I don't know if I'll send it out or not. I'll see. Just quite a long video. For me, it was just I've normally written that down. There's a lot to write down. We'll see if you get the pleasure of hearing this, and I hope it made a difference. And hey, if I'm assuming I'm going to send this out, then I just want you to know that I love you, and you should love you more too. We take ourselves for granted all the time. We're beautiful. We're spirits, as Wayne Dyer would say, having a human experience. We're not humans having a spiritual experience. We are actually spirits having a human experience. It's temporary. It's playtime. Go express, go be who you are, who you're meant to be. If you found that, what a great, great gift. As Mark Twain says, 2 most important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why. So I hope you've already found out why, and if you haven't, it's a great inquiry to be in. It's far more than, you know, getting married, having kids, getting a job, working for 40, 50 years and retiring. Far, far more than that if you want it to be. And it can be just that if that's all you want it to be too. But I know from experience, not just myself, but having worked with all the different people on all the different continents around the world, that it's possible to find who you are amongst all of that and shine a light on it. And so my prayer for you is that you get to shine a light on who you truly are beyond everything that you've done. And, it's not taking away anything from what you've done, but the power is in who you are. Take care. Love me, love you, and stay connected. Bye for now.